I would say when we start, you'll mute me because I have a barking dog
Got it.
that I love.
There's Sharon. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, Shondra. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. So are you going to mute everybody?
I am, yes. So I have 801 and I have 127 people on. I'm happy to hang on for a couple more minutes if you'd like, or we can rock and roll.
I would say wait another minute.
Perfect.
Oh my God, people are messaging me saying, are we going to be able to be seen? Yes, do not come on naked. You will be seen.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing.
I love it. Hello, Lisa Prowl. I see you, lady. How you doing?
So good to see your face, by the way. I'm like,
Ooh.
I've missed you a lot.
Oh, likewise. We have 139 on. This is awesome. So yes, to answer the questions in the chat, Zoom limits us to how many people we can see on the screen at one time. So don't panic if we can't see you. The important thing is that you can hear me for tonight's presentation and that you're able to take some notes. So no worries if you do not see yourself on camera.
I think we could start.
That's what I was going to say, Chandra. It's 8:03. We're at 145 people, so I think we can start.
Let's do it. All right. I am going to mute everyone, but first, thank you to Sharon for reaching out and having me tonight. I'm beyond excited and thrilled to have the opportunity to spend the next hour with you all. For those of you that I do not know, my name is Chanda Mundell, and I am a former direct sales leader for a really amazing company. And I actually was a Pampered Chef director and have recently decided to take this step forward and really reach out and coach others to be successful on social media. So tonight we are going to have a jam-packed session for you. You will take plenty of notes. I have been told that I make people's brains hurt just a little bit. So if I see smoke coming out of your ears out there, I'll slow down a little bit. Couple of notes on the presentation tonight. I will leave plenty of time at the end for a question and answer session. So please hold off typing questions down into the chat because I'm not going to be focusing on the chat. I'm going to focusing on delivering the content to you tonight and getting as much information to you as possible. So before we get into tonight's agenda, I did want to share with you my social media journey a little bit. So like most new direct sellers, when I started my business, I went and created a Facebook business page. Not really knowing what I was doing. I just knew that was what I was kind of supposed to do. That's what the cool kids were doing. So after a few months of showing up on my business page and attempting to sell something, nothing was really happening. And I remember complaining to my husband, and he would say I was more or less whining about nothing happening over there. He looked me right in the face and he said, well, you're not doing something right. Okay. And he was absolutely right. I wasn't. And his point was I should be seeing measurable results from my efforts on social media. Okay. And it took me a while to get to that point. And it took me actually taking a step back and trying new things. So I was one of the first people at Pampered Chef to create what you all refer to as a VIP group. Now, at first, when I started my VIP group, the same crickets that were hanging out over on my business page followed me into my group. No one was commenting, liking. People weren't buying, booking, or joining my teams, okay? Until I relaxed a little bit. I started to let my audience in a little bit more into my everyday life. And I didn't realize it at the time, but what I was doing is I was personally branding my business within the Pampered Chef brand. And after time, opportunities started to present themselves to me. People started to message me, asking me what the host specials were or what my calendar looked like, okay? Then I finally had measurable results for my efforts on social media. So social media went from this thing out here I knew I probably should be doing to actually the center focus of my business that helped me then go and be a better in-home consultant and a better virtual consultant because I learned a lot about consumer behavior. All right, so tonight we're going to cover a lot of ground, but we are going to start with a little fundamentals. And I like to do a social media 101 soft selling with every group, okay? So I teach a very simple formula at Perchberg Consulting, and that is conversations lead to connections, and connections lead to opportunities. Again, conversations lead to connections, and connections lead to opportunities. So obviously we're going to start with the conversation piece of it tonight. And that's the first piece of homework. Yes, I'm divvying out homework tonight. I want you to go back wherever you are posting. We're going to get to that, by the way. I want you to take a look at your conversations. Are you getting a two-way dialogue going with your audiences? Okay. And if you're not, that's okay. We're going to talk about how to fix that. What I tend to see as direct sellers is that we tend to show up and throw up information at our audiences. Okay. Now, if we don't try and establish a two-way conversation, then it's hard for us to move a customer through this formula, right? And it's important for you to know that customers move through this formula at different paces, all right? And moving everybody through this formula or getting to the point where you feel like you're clicking through it pretty quickly, it takes time. This social media thing is not a micro cooker microwave situation, okay? This is a rock clock slow cooker situation. It's not going to happen overnight, but if we can at least start to get conversations going, we're off to a good start, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we need to start to put our post through a little checklist, if you will, okay, to give ourselves a chance at having a conversation going. So the next time, before you post anything, I want you to check for these three things. Number one, does the post provide value to your audience in some way? What I don't mean by value is free, get 50% off. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about valuable information that's going to better my situation or perhaps solve a problem. Okay, so number one is value. Number two, can the audience relate to the post in some way? Is there some sort of human element that I can totally relate to because I'm a crazy busy mom or something like that? Or does it have an element of super salesperson, okay, or some weird salesy version of yourself that we wouldn't relate to? All right. And then lastly, is the post engaging in some way? Perhaps, is there a question that you've maybe tossed back out to the audience to get the tennis ball in our court and get the conversation going a little bit? So value, relate, and engage. Those are great ways to get a conversation going. So here's my first round of tough love this evening, okay? All right, here's how we mess this up as direct sellers. And these are some of the posts that I see on my feed. I've been challenged to sell 15 brownie pans this month. Jill, right? Okay. Think about it. Does that provide value to the audience? No. I want to see some heads shaking. No, it doesn't. It provides value to you who has something to sell. Okay. Can they relate to a post like that? Probably not. And I actually want to stop for a moment right here on this point and open your eyes to the fact that your potential recruits are watching your every move on social media. And when they see a post like this, they may be sitting back and thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on Facebook. I just don't know if I see myself acting like that on Facebook. Does Pampered Chef, train their consultants to sell like this and beg for orders? So keep that in mind, okay? And certainly there isn't anything engaging with that type of post as well. Okay, don't forget, value, relate, and engage. Now, why is this whole conversation piece important? I want to also bring you aware of some recent Facebook changes, okay, in terms of business pages in particular. Within the last week, Mark Zuckerberg announced that we are getting back slowly on Facebook to the point where they want us to have more meaningful experiences on our personal feeds, i.e., they want us to interact more with our actual friends, because our news feeds are flooded with business brands, news outlets, and other spammy type of material, okay? Point blank, they've also said that business pages, we are going to see less business page posts in our feeds. So if we are operating on a business page right now, we have to be really good at creating these conversations and activities on our post to get them through and be seen to our audience in the first place, okay? Also, I want to park right here and talk a little bit about where we should be posting, okay? And moving from this conversation piece to how do we then really start to make connections with our customers. I'm coaching everyone to get off of their personal feeds 100% in regards to business. And I know that one stings a little bit. And I want to give you a couple of reasons why that is. Number one, it is against Facebook policy to sell on your personal pages. Also, it goes right along with what Facebook just announced. On your personal walls, we want to see your families. We want to see your pets, your friends. We want to interact with you in that manner. Okay? And on your personal feeds, you are not getting access to really important statistics that I find crucial to have in building your social media strategy going forward, i.e., when are the best times for you to post based on what your audience tells you, scheduling posts, things like that. We cannot accomplish that on a personal feed. But I'll give you a pass, and that is to think about using Facebook stories. Facebook stories, if you log into your Facebook app on your cell phones, are at the very top of your phones, and you will see your own profile picture circled, okay? A story is that. It's like flipping the pages of a book. They are a series of photos or 20-second videos that you can upload that's going to play like a slide deck, if you will, okay? I love Facebook stories on your personal feeds because we can use Facebook stories to drive traffic back to our business pages or our closed group communities. And it's a non-invasive way on a personal feed to still have business in front of our customers. Is everybody with me on that? Give me some thumbs up, some heads nodding. Okay, awesome. So off your personal feeds, business pages are kind of getting the raw deal. What do? I'm a firm believer that the best place to build a really sound social media strategy going forward is in a closed group community. Okay? But I want to stop you. Whatever VIP group experience you've had up until this time right now, I want you to forget about it. Okay? Does not matter. If it has been a ghost town in there, it's okay. If you've never created a closed group community until this moment, that's okay as well. But I want to give you the why. Facebook, in particular, in the recent months, has also come forward and said, hey, we finally get it. That the best way for a brand to really sell itself is to build a community where people are inspired and they connect to the brand. Remember when I told you about my group? It was like someone flipped the lights on when I started to use personal branding a little bit in my group. People started to connect with me a little bit more, and then opportunities started to happen. So I'm a firm believer going forward in this current social media climate that we're in, a closed, closed group community is going to be your best bet. So how do we utilize personal branding? Pretty simple, actually, okay? Not as hard as you may think. So I want everybody to go through what I call my blogging activity, okay? And this is just to help get your wheels cranking a little bit around what your personal brand is. And then we're going to talk about ways that you can pull that through to the content that you're going to share out there. Here's the exercise. Okay. If I were to give you your very own blog today, and I said, go blog about 3 things that you're passionate about, maybe you're an expert about, but they have nothing to do with Pampered Chef, what would they be? Okay, so I'm actually going to pause. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, jot down those 3 things, and then we'll come back and we'll give you some examples. And if I have a brave volunteer that's on my current screen with me, if you would like to share, give me a wave and I will come over and unmute you. And I would love to hear your 3 things. Carolyn, thank you for volunteering. Go ahead.
You're welcome. Well, I'm a licensed optician in New York, so my passion is helping people see better.
Oh.
And I'm very passionate about my 13-year-old daughter and all her activities. I try to do what I can to be there.
Awesome.
I like to, I try to do crafts with my neighbor, my best friend.
Crafts.
Crafts.
We love crafts.
Like painting.
Yes. Okay. So Carolyn, where I might go with this, and I know everybody, thank you for typing stuff into the chat. Please remember, I'm not going to be paying attention to the chat till the end of the presentation. I promise I'll get to your questions. Carolyn, so what you might think about doing for your group is, first of all, your group names, very important. Your group names should also reflect some of these things, okay? So I'd love to see your first name in the group name in some way. And that's because if I meet you at a vendor event, Carolyn, I'm likely going to type in your first name in the Facebook search in the group to find the group, okay? And the content that you deliver in that group, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe your group name could be something through Carolyn's eyes or something like that, or crafting and the C's, something along those lines. So you might want to brainstorm ideas around that. And then once you're inside your group, Carolyn, I really like to see a 70-30% type of balance. Okay, so 70% of the content you post in there should be Pampered Chef. That's the point, right? And then maybe 30%, Carolyn, is, you know, your passion of helping others see and your passion and your creativity around crafting. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for volunteering. Give you a couple of other examples of other people that I've worked with. Another director that is a proud grandma of, like, I don't even know how many grandkids. Her group name is Nana's Nourishing Nook. Okay? And when you step into her group, you instantly are welcomed by a group photo that is her grandkiddos around with her at her kitchen table. And often what we see in the content that she delivers is her life as a grandma and how she's active with them in the kitchen, and it kind of works, okay? So don't be afraid to share a little bit more of what makes you tick with your audience. If you were to step back in time into my old group, you would know these things about me. I am the biggest Seahawks football fan this side of the Mississippi, all right? Busy mom of 3 kiddos, and I love tacos. I'd eat them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Now, those might seem like silly things to you, but they were things that my audience connected with me on, and they still do to this day. People started sending me Seahawks gifts in the mail and tagging me on silly taco posts, okay? So again, it really does play into the point that your audiences out there, they want to know and connect with the person behind the apron, the person behind the small business, if you will, okay? So your second piece of homework in these groups, again, whether you are setting up a new group or you're rebranding an existing group, I want you to go in there and post a bio, okay? So for those of you that have an existing group, it could sound a little something like this. I'm so excited to take this community in a new direction this year, where I'm not only going to share my love of Pampered Chef, but my love of crafting, my kids' activities, so on and so forth. And I wanted to take a step back and reintroduce myself for a minute, okay? And at the end of that bio, give us a question that, again, tosses that tennis ball into my court and gets the conversation going a little bit. Going back to Nana's Nourishing Nook example, she is an avid beach traveler. She has like a list of beaches she has to hit every year. So her question was, if you could travel to any beach on the planet for free, where would it be? Easy question, a fun question for the group to answer, and she got some great engagement from that, okay? Great way to kick off a brand new community as well. Introduce yourselves. What I don't want you to do in this bio is give us your Pampered Chef story. That's for another time, okay? This is about you, the human behind your business. And I promise you it's a great way to kickstart a new community or rebrand an existing community. So great, you've got your bio, you've got a little personal branding going on. What do we do next? I want to walk you through an example of what a social media calendar could look like for you, okay? So a social media calendar might seem super expert marketing-like. It's really not. It's literally grabbing, like me, an old school calendar, okay, and literally planning your content ahead so that you're giving yourselves enough time to not only think about what the post is going to be, but put it through those check marks. Is it valuable? Can they relate to this? Is there something engaging with it? And I often find that giving you a little structure starting out really helps. So I'm just going to give you an example of a calendar that my current clients use just to get them started. By the way, this helps you be intentional with this. I heard a really great quote recently, and that is, a business that only posts once or twice a week on social media is like saying, I only want customers once or twice a week. I know that's not true for anyone on here. So I'm going to teach you a Monday through Friday calendar. Why Monday through Friday? On Saturday and Sundays, we don't see a ton of engagement, okay? That's not to say that you cannot post on Saturday or Sunday, but again, just play with it. And again, Facebook's going to give you statistics. in your groups and tell you when the best times to post. Monday, what if you did Meatless Monday options? Okay. Maybe you do Motivational Monday. Maybe you do Meal Plan Monday. I used to do that with my group, by the way, and they loved that. Give them a meal plan idea for the rest of the week. All right. Tuesday. Tuesday's a great day to do Tuesday tips, tricks, kitchen hacks. Give us education. We love that type of content. And Pampered Chef, you just have a plethora of resources around that topic, okay? Or you could do Takeover Tuesday. Do you have a loyal customer or past host in your community that you could reach out to and give them the reins to post on Tuesday and share what they're going to be cooking or they're excited to use in their kitchens? Just give them a little structure, okay? And that you're only looking for 1 to 2 posts and you're asking them to share, not sell. However, I will tell you, in seeing other clients utilize this, that's a heck of a great recruiting tool, okay? Wednesday, maybe it's Wacky Wednesday. We have a little bit of fun. Maybe it's Recipe Roundup Wednesday. Or what I used to do, I used Wednesday as Wish List Wednesday. So I would encourage everybody, even well beyond the holidays, to create wish lists on my websites. Why? Helped me personalize their experience with me on social media. And I would oftentimes cruise those wish lists, and therefore I would start to see patterns, and I knew what my content should be going forward. And I definitely knew what live demos I was going to be doing going forward. Great segue into Thursday. Maybe Thursday is Tune In Thursday, where you go live. Okay? Why Thursday? Thursday and Fridays right now are great engagement days on Facebook. Okay, engagement rates are higher. We think that's because everyone has mentally checked out for the weekend already. All right. And I want to park here on Facebook Live for just a moment and give you some tips around that. So here's a little tough love on the Facebook Live. If you are not doing it, I need you to get over it right now. Okay? You need to be using, Allison's laughing at me. It's okay. I know. All right? You need to be using Facebook Live in your businesses. Why? Well, by the year 2019, 4/5 of all global internet traffic is going to be video content. Okay? Every 3 posts on your feeds right now is a piece of video content. We are being trained out there to only pay attention to video content. 4 times as many customers have said they would rather watch a video about one of your products than read about it. Okay? And let's go back to the formula I'm teaching you. Conversations lead to connections, and connections lead to opportunities. Facebook Live takes care of those first 2 C's like that. It is the best way for you to speed up that formula and move a customer to the opportunity side where they're ready to buy, book, or join your teams, okay? So you got to do it. Here are some tips on how to make it awesome. Number 1, I want you to give us a 24-hour heads up of when you're going to go live, but also give me the value of what I'm going to get out of it, okay? Think about it like a little mini commercial, okay? It could just be a post. A lot of people will create their own graphic in Canva or PicMonkey with maybe their picture, the time that they're going to be going live, the time zone, and maybe the topic, okay? The title of your Facebook Lives are also important. We have seen that the actual title can drive the engagement of that video up 30-40% as well. Keep it 5 minutes or under. Marketing experts will tell you 3. I think that's really aggressive for Pampered Chef. I'm going to meet you in the middle and give you 5. Okay. But what that means for you all is pick a piece of the process to show us, okay? Maybe you pick the prep work to show us, or just the cooking time, or the end result. We don't need to see a 20-minute rush hour chicken fajitas, okay? Because you're going to lose us. And that's not you. Again, remember consumer behavior. It's us in the audience. We have short attention spans, and we're likely not going to stick with it. And if you pick a piece of the puzzle to focus on, you're going to be able to focus better on delivering some features and benefits. So also, plan ahead with these lives. Think ahead, 2 features and benefits. Just start with that you want to communicate. I used to write mine on a sticky note and put it on my cabinet behind the camera in case my kids ran crazy behind me and I lost track. I still remembered where I was going. And by the way, we don't want to see perfect, okay? Those of you on here that have kiddos, if they are in the video and they make cameo appearances and they're not supposed to, it's okay. Some of my best videos and most commented and opportunity videos were those when I just had real life going on in the background. And again, that's because people could relate to it. They could see themselves doing my job, right? So don't be afraid. We don't need to see perfect out there. Couple technical tips. You still really need a strong signal to go Facebook Live. Facebook will tell you if your signal isn't so awesome, all right? So just be mindful of that. Also, turn your phone sideways for me. But practice this, because sometimes I tell people to turn their phone sideways and then we end up turning with them, okay? But turn your phone sideways. You're gonna look right into the camera hole, not the screen. Look in the camera hole. And that's gonna feel awkward and not natural, I know, but just practice it, all right? That eliminates the gray bars on the side. Why do you want to eliminate the gray bars on the side? Because I want you all to look like you know what you're doing, because you do. And secondly, there's maybe products hanging out over on the side and I can't see them. Lastly, where do comments on a Facebook Live show up? At the bottom of the screen. Where are you usually placing the product that you're working with or demoing? At the bottom of your screens. And a lot of times when I'm tuning in, I can't see the product. So I want you to do this. Ask your audience to swipe the comments over, okay, so they can see, or practice with placement of your camera and maybe do a more side angle so that we can see everything that you're doing. If this seems like a lot and you're thinking, I'm not an actor or an actress, I get it. Maybe you create a fake Facebook event where you're the only person invited and you practice going live in there and practice some of these things, okay? All right. I didn't forget about Friday, I promise. So in your social media calendar for the week, maybe Friday is Fun Friday. Maybe you do a silly game and it's Freebie Friday. All right, maybe we just have a little fun out there. Or again, give us a little bit more of maybe what's going on in real life. So you kind of be the judge, and over time it does get easier to sprinkle in a little bit of real life in there, and you will get into a flow of doing this. You can also schedule posts, okay? So if that helps you be intentional, Facebook groups absolutely let you schedule now, and you don't have to use Post My Party or Send Share to do so. All right, we are going to move into adding quality people to these communities, okay? So I want to start off by encouraging you to not get discouraged about having a low member count in these communities. It really is about quality over quantity. When I left my group, I had just shy of 300 in the group, and it was a high performing group. But if you think about it, how can we possibly make connections with 5,000 people in a group? It's really hard to do, all right? So don't get discouraged if you don't have a ton of people in the group. It's okay. Here are some ways that you can add some quality people. Number one, it was part of my host coaching. Every single show, I wanted my host inside my community well before their party. Okay, so what did that sound like? Host, so excited to party with you soon. The best way for me to plan a great show is actually have you hop into my community and get a feel for my demos, and you're going to get really excited about your wish list. And that was the truth, and that's what started to happen. What I started to notice was that my cancellation rate did this, and then my sales did this at my shows. I strongly believe that is because I gave my host, especially virtual hosts that I'd never met before, gave them a chance to get to know me, okay? They became more invested in the process. They got more excited about what they were seeing because they could see it through my live demos, all right? Very important part of my host coaching. Also, my full service checkouts. Again, I became intentional. Donna, the best way for me to provide you with great ongoing customer service beyond the show tonight is to stay connected on social media. If you want to go ahead and grab your phone, I'm going to show you how to get into the community really quickly. Okay? And I want everybody to notice, that's different from, you want to join my group? Join my group, come in, get all the freebies. No. I want you to be in my community where you're going to get tips, kitchen resources, education, and fun. That's the difference between being in a direct sellers group and being in a direct sellers community. That makes sense, everybody? You still with me? Okay. Another way that I added quality people to my community. I would send out a customer connections blank template email once a quarter, okay, to my email list. What did I put in that blank template? I put my bio. I went back and I copied and pasted that original bio into the email. I maybe tweaked it a little bit so it didn't sound like a Facebook post. And then I had the link to my group where they could click and be in the group if they chose to. Okay. Then again, at vendor events, I started to use my community as my virtual business card. So if you walked up to my vendor event table, you weren't really probably going to walk away and not want to be in my community. Alrighty. So I really encourage you to start to think of these groups as a virtual business card, but home base for you. Okay. Especially with the explosion of virtual shows, all right? It is the best way for people at virtual shows to come back to home base on social media with you, stay connected, and then you've got the chance to build a really long-term, awesome customer relationship with them, and you absolutely can. Now, how you extend that invitation from a virtual show back to your community, you're going to have to figure that out and see what works best for you. Again, because it was part of my host coaching, a lot of times for me in my virtual shows, the host pulled them along for me because they saw value of being in the community. Maybe it's part of the virtual show in some way, or again, part of the checkout process. I would always be extending that invitation back to the group. And I'm a firm believer, though, you've got to have this presence on social media. If I've not convinced you to start a community or group, at least a business page, you got to give them a way to stay connected. And also another reason why I want you to think about getting off of your personal feeds with business, because think about this for a second. If I'm a guest at one of your virtual shows, I might not want to friend you, to stay connected with you in terms of Pampered Chef. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'm not sure that I want all of you friending all of your guests at all of your virtual shows as well. So once we have these quality people inside the group, what are some things that we can do to turn these relationships and these connections into opportunities? It really is about personalizing the experience for them and really making them feel like $1 million. Okay, so here are some ways we can do that. Sorry, scratchy voice tonight. First of all, we want to welcome them. So from time to time in your communities, I would welcome new members. And maybe that sounds a little something like this at the end of one of your live demos. By the way, if you are a new member of my community, I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. Would you comment with the word new below on this video? I would love to reach out to you, provide you with one of my awesome resources. What is that resource? Maybe it's a recipe booklet or a link that you have saved in Evernote. Or maybe it's a virtual welcome packet. What's a virtual welcome packet? That is a fancy title for a Google form, okay? And in that Google form, maybe there's a welcome video, a pre-recorded welcome video that welcomes them. And then that form asks them what would they like to see in the group? What recipes would be helpful for them? Keto, low carb, 30-minute meals, freezer meals. Ask them what would be helpful. Not a place for you to say, are you interested in having a show? Or would you like more information about doing what I do? Again, time and a place for that, not on the welcome form. So make them feel like $1 million right off the bat. And I have to tell you, if I'm someone, again, in one of your virtual shows especially, and I've clicked into the community and I'm welcomed in this way, I'm thinking you're pretty awesome. And you're definitely someone that I'm going to give a chance at building a long-term relationship with. I would always welcome my host to my host club. All right. Every time I would submit any type of show, I would tag my host in my group and I would say something like this. Carolyn, thank you so much for a fantastic virtual show. I'm so excited you scored XYZ in host benefits. Welcome to my hostess club. Enjoy 10% off all orders for 1 year. So what would normally happen? My host would comment below, it was fun, it was easy, can't wait to get my stuff. What I started to notice over time is that this is when people really started to message me and ask me what the host specials were. And I thought, am I on candid camera? Is this really happening? People are messaging me. I was soft selling the experience of partying with Chanda just by doing this. By giving my host their moment, okay, thanking them, being appreciative, but gently explaining how much fun we had and what they got out of it. And the more I did that and the more shows, the more opportunities that started to present themselves, okay? So the host club would be a great way to do that. People that start to tune into your live demos. Every once in a while, I would just private message those people on those lives and simply thank them for tuning in. Or again, if it was one of those videos where my kids happen to be extra noisy, I would make a joke about it, whatnot. No strings attached. Just thank them for tuning in. Or when people on those lives would want recipe links or more information, I stopped auto dumping that information in the comments. And instead, I started to take those conversations through Messenger instead. And what I did is I started to lead with service in those Messenger conversations. And by doing that, again, I was personalizing their experience with me on social media. I was providing them a service with giving them the information that they wanted. And 9 times out of 10, that conversation gave us a stronger connection. And a lot of times in that same conversation, it led to an opportunity where then I was able to position host benefits or the opportunity. So maybe think about that with your live demos, especially. Is there an opportunity for you to take the conversation through Messenger and extend a more personal level of service that way? Last but not least, and this is a new feature in groups that I love. Facebook groups are going to give you statistics every 28 days. Part of those statistics is the new members. It's actually going to tell you a list and the names of people that have joined your communities and give you the option of doing a new member welcome post automatically. Okay, I love that one. I also love the top contributors in your communities. Facebook will populate for you. I mean, you're probably going to know, but if you have a large group, maybe hard to keep track of, Facebook will tell you who your top posters' comments are. I would maybe send them a little personalized note through the mail. You have their mailing address, or again, reach out to them through Messenger. Thank them for having so much fun in your community. No strings attached again, but again, maybe that conversation then leads to an opportunity. All right, that is a lot of information that I just gave you all. And again, I don't see any smoke coming out of anybody's ears quite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back over. I see Jill and I see Sharon still on screen with me. So ladies, I'm going to turn it back over to you for a moment. And then I think we'll open it up for questions and then wrap it up.
I am just so thrilled that you did this. Oh my gosh, because it made it so clear to everyone, because a lot of us just do the wrong thing on Facebook.
Shondra, I have a question. Wait, guys, can you mute this for a second? I'm sorry. I have a question. So basically, what do you see going on a live feed? I'm sorry, going on our regular Facebook timelines.
Yeah, so I think it's more of how I would interact with friends if I bumped into them at Target. Okay? I think that's a good way to think about what we should be doing on our feeds. The things that I would talk about with people if I bumped into them at the supermarket. Okay? And I think that if every once in a while you just made something for dinner and it looks amazing and you want to share it on your personal feeds, I'm all for that. I just believe strongly that going forward, our time, our efforts, our strategy, we need to focus that on areas of Facebook where we can see statistics that are giving us the yay, we're doing good, reaching people, that sort of thing. So on our personal walls, I think every once in a while, sharing a little bit is okay. I think strategy-wise, we got to move over to a business page or community.
Can you be a little more specific about if you bumped into a friend at Target? What do you imagine that post to look like?
I'm thinking if I bumped into a friend at Target, the first thing out of my mouth would probably not be Pampered Chef, right? It would be our friends, our families, our pets, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you want to see all personal.
Yep.
On Facebook.
Absolutely.
Should we be posting every day? I mean, there are some people that it's overkill, 6 times a day.
Yeah. On the social media calendar example I gave you all, I really recommend in your communities, you're posting once a day and that's it.
Right. But what about your personal timeline?
Personal timeline, I don't really see a benefit or a plan of how often you should post on there, because I'm telling you, you shouldn't be posting business on there at all.
Right. Okay.
But, once or twice a day, I don't see a problem with that. But we just learned of a new feature on Facebook. Did you all know you can snooze people? Okay. So I can click on anyone's post and hit snooze for 30 days. So I won't see any of you on the feed for 30 days.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Okay. But these features are there on our personal feeds for a reason, because we've kind of had it up to here with being sold to, right? And again, with Facebook's announcement this past week from Mark Zuckerberg, they really want our personal feeds to get back to that meaningful experience with friends and family.
And one last thing before you open it up to questions, you passed a comment about customer connection email, inviting them to your community. You can't put a link there. So how are you just asking them if they want to be included? You said something about a link, but you can't do that in a customer connection email.
Unless that's changed, the blank template email, I absolutely put the link. and a hyperlink would populate. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
This
All
was
right.
amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. All right. So again, I can see a limited amount of people on screen. So if you can see me on screen, wave at me. I will unmute you and go for it in the chat. So I'm going to start on screen. Angela's like smoke signal waving me down. Okay. Go ahead, Angela.
Thank you. I'm just a little confused because I have a personal Facebook page, and then I did create a second Facebook page, which is my Pampered Chef. They are not linked. There are two totally separate profiles. When you talk about the community, are you talking? I don't know if I'm not understanding. Are you saying a group off of our personal page, or do what I have, is that wrong?
Okay, great question. Great question. I apologize. I have a cold, so I've got a little bit of a runny nose. Yeah, so I call them communities, and it's a group.
Okay.
The word group has gotten such a negative vibe in the direct selling community, and we can thank some direct selling companies for kind of auto dumping thousands of people into groups, right? I would rather us think of them more as communities than a group. Now, creating a group from your business page or creating it from your personal profile, I don't think that matters, okay? Because again, you don't have to friend people in order to add them to your community. They just need to be able to click on the group link to get in there. However, if you have an existing business page, you can link your business page and your community together.
So is that like a separate because I have two separate Facebook accounts. One is my Pampered Chef account and one is a personal account. They're two totally separate accounts.
I would just focus on building a community, okay?
Off of the Pampered Chef account?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But for those of you, again, that have a business page and you have a community, you can link them so that if I do find your business page on Facebook, I can easily see that you have a group that I can hop into. So I really love to see them linked, and it works well. And I am seeing that work well for current clients in driving traffic that we're connecting the dots. So quick example, people that I have getting their feet wet on Instagram, we're building connections on Instagram. They're coming over to the Facebook business page. They're seeing the community link and they're clicking the community and they're hopping in.
So do you recommend changing it to a business page?
At this point, again, let me see if I can be clear, Angela. Create a group community. And whether that is from your Pampered Chef business page or your personal account, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It just needs to be a community where we can start to connect with you in the brand, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey,
All right.
Shonda, how do you link the business page and the community together? Like which side is that on?
Two spots you can do that. When you go into your groups, it is going to flag you at the very top to link it to a business page, okay? And also, if you're on your business page and you go into settings and groups, it's going to ask you to link it. Facebook has been kind of in our face about it. Very hard to miss.
Sean, one last question, because I think a lot of people are messaging me for this. Should the group be a closed group, a private group? How will they find it?
Closed group. Great
Closed.
question.
Thank you.
A closed group allows me to find it and search it without letting all the weirdos in, because they still have to request access to get in there. Yes. All right, let me go down to the chat so I don't forget about my folks in the chat group here. Okay, question is, we do our Facebook parties from our business page, which would make everything public. Yes, if you are creating Facebook parties from your business page, they will be public. Be aware of that. Are the Facebook Lives happening on the Facebook business page or in the VIP community group? So I say both. If you are operating inside a closed group community, a Facebook Live, again, best way to connect. If you're operating on a business page and beating the Facebook algorithms to the best of your ability, Facebook loves a live video. So if you are putting out great Facebook Live videos on a business page, they are more likely to reach a wider audience. I'm experiencing that right now on my business page. My live videos do really well, okay? But again, I would not encourage you all to completely abandon your Facebook pages right now if you have one up and running. But if you don't have a Facebook business page up and running, I would not encourage you to spend a lot of time and energy over there because Facebook's making it really difficult for us to succeed unless we're really great at doing lives and we have some money in our pockets to boost posts. You're getting a little tricky. Tina on camera, go ahead.
I have two questions. One, when you are doing your virtual parties, are you doing them through that group or you still have to run them from your personal page?
Yeah, so tonight, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on virtual parties because I didn't cover that tonight, okay? So I'm going to direct you back to your leadership, Tina, on that one and what works best for you guys. I am of the school of thought, I don't get too caught up in how or where we're delivering a Facebook party, but more that it has your personal touch on it and your personal branding incorporated in some way, okay?
Okay, and then the second question that I had, oh my God, my menopausal mind. I'm so sorry. You just completely threw me off with that. Oh my God.
You know what? We'll come back to you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll come back. All right, couple more. Someone just put in the chat that their Facebook business page activity has declined a lot. They've created a group. They're both linked. Should I post content in both places? Again, I would focus our time and energy over into a group in a community. Let's see if we can get some traction there before we really worry about what's happening on the business page. Again, I can't stress this enough. Facebook's making it really hard on businesses right now with business pages to succeed, okay? When we're operating inside of a closed group community, we don't have to worry about those things as much. And so baby steps, I want you to either rebrand it or start anew, introduce yourselves, let's get the connection and the conversations going in the group first, and let's see where that goes going forward. All right, Tina's got the question back. She's back. Go ahead.
I remember. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is your expertise only through Facebook? Because when I am doing my posting, I usually start at Instagram and then I send it over to Facebook and then Twitter and then anything else I have going on. So is your expertise only in Facebook, or do you still recommend doing all of those other social outlets as well?
So my recommendation is I want you to first get really good on whatever platform you choose. I want you to get really good at creating specific measurable results. I want people buying. I want them booking. I want them joining your team. And if that's happening on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, rock on with your bad self. If it's not, I want you to start on Facebook because that is where your people are for right now, more than likely. And then let's branch out. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, we've got time for maybe two more. Anybody else on camera? Nope, they're tired of looking at me. Okay, let's go down to chat. Okay, do you promote your community at vendor events? Absolutely. Yes, I think I mentioned before that you are likely not going to leave my table without grabbing your cell phone and hopping in my community. Or if I was really making a connection with you, I might take a selfie with you and welcome you into my community later on as well. Okay, mentioning the Hostess Club. However, is this a different group that you're speaking of? No, great question. My Hostess Club was just a play on words of welcome to the cool experience that you got to host a Pampered Chef party, and you're going to score 10% off all orders from 1 year. However, I do have clients that have created a subgroup for their host, because you can now have subgroups. So you can have your main Pampered Chef group, then a hostess group that's connected. That might blow your mind. You don't even need to go there, but for some of you, you might be already thinking that. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. Jill, I think I have you unmuted. Sharon, I will unmute you to wrap us up.
Okay, again, I just want to say thank you. This was absolutely amazing, and I am so grateful that you squeezed us in. I know how busy and popular you are now. And
He's popular.
He's popular, and this was incredibly helpful, and I can't thank you enough, Shonda.
This was my pleasure. So much fun. Oh, gosh, thank you for having me.
I know you changed a lot of lives here tonight, and you're really going to help a lot of people.
I certainly hope so. Certainly hope so. Yes. I would just encourage everyone, cherry pick from what you've heard tonight. I know you're not going to be able to go implement everything that we talked about. Take it in baby steps. Again, Lisa has worked with me one-on-one before, can attest to the fact this isn't something that happens overnight. It's a slow cooker situation. It takes you being intentional, and it really takes you having patience with yourself and have patience with your audience. And then you will start to see measurable results over time. Yeah. All right, everybody. Happy New Year. And
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You want to finally